Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? Can I please have your attention? At this time, please place all electronic devices to vibrate. Mr. Majority Leader, it's all yours.
Good afternoon and welcome to the stated meeting of May 14, 2026. I am Majority Leader Sean Abreu and I'd like to thank you for joining us. If you would like to follow along, the agenda for today's meeting is posted on our website. On behalf of the body, I welcome the members of the public who have joined us today. During the stated meetings, only members of the council may speak. Members of the public shall remain silent. If you wish to express your support of any remarks, you may make the silent approval gesture. I want to remind my colleagues that decorum is to be respected at all times. It is essential that even if we disagree, we treat each other with respect.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Roll call.
Aldebol.
Here.
Ariola. Aviles.
Sono qui.
Thank you.
Council member, can you please mute yourself? Councilmember Ariola, thank you.
Aviles. Banks.
Here.
Brewer.
Here.
Brooks Powers. Caban.
Present.
De La Rosa.
Here.
Dinowitz.
Here.
Encarnacion.
Presente.
Epstein.
Present.
Farias.
Present.
Felder. Okay. Thank you. Felice. Gennaro. Hanif. Hankerson.
Here.
Hanks.
Present.
Hudson. Joseph. Gutierrez.
I'm here.
Krishnan.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Lewis.
Present.
Maloney.
Present.
Marte.
Here.
Mealy. Morano.
Here.
Narcisse.
Présent.
Nurse. Osei. Palladino.
Here.
Wrestler.
Here.
Riley.
Present.
Salam.
Present.
Justin Sanchez.
I've entered the chat.
Pierina Sanchez.
Present.
Santos Suoso.
Here.
Shulman.
Here.
Stevens.
Here.
Thomas Henry.
Present.
Ung.
Present.
Vernikoff. Williams.
Present.
Councilmember Williams.
Oh, present. I'm here. Aye.
Thank you. Wilson. One.
Present.
Wang.
Here.
Zhuang.
Here.
Carr.
Present.
Abreu.
Present.
Speaker Menon.
Present.
Thank you. We will now have today's invocation, which will be delivered by Reverend Dr. Gowan DeLeo, Vicar and Priest in Charge at Holy Trinity Church, Inwood, which is located at 20 Cumming Street in Manhattan.
Let us pray. Almighty and gracious God, you are the same God who led your people through the wilderness, out of slavery and into a land of promise. Even in the midst of flood and fire, you have appeared to us in power through silence and our neighbors. Today we give thanks for this political body that has balanced the city budget and works with our state officials to serve all New Yorkers. We remember this city that harnesses people from all the nations, from countless traditions, creating the effervescent vibrancy of our unique home. We raise up this culture of resilience and the enduring spirit of neighborly care across languages and differences. You reveal the power of love that endures in the midst of struggle and hardship. Under your care, this city belongs to both the deeply rooted and recent arrivals, those with names on buildings, and those whose labor built them. We remember especially this day the families and neighbors affected by the fire at 207 Dyckman Street in Inwood. Protect those families who lost their homes, guide them with your spirit, and give them the gift of perseverance and hope. Bring those who died into your loving arms. Comfort those who mourn, that they may be surrounded by your divine affection. We give thanks for the many neighbors in Inwood, Washington Heights, the Bronx, and the city who rose to embrace the residents. May we continue to help them find relief, that they may know this city sees and stands with them. We ask your blessing upon our elected officials, especially this council, who have been entrusted with the responsibilities of public service, and especially Councilwoman Carmen De La Rosa for her deep and empathetic leadership. Continue to give her courage and strength. And grant all members here wisdom to govern with integrity, courage to pursue justice, and compassion towards the vulnerable. May, in this debate, they say what they mean, respect those who disagree, be open to changing their minds, and endure necessary conflict for the sake of the city. And strengthen all who labor to bring relief and hope to those who suffer: firefighters, first responders, police officers, relief organizations, houses of worship, community leaders throughout the 5 boroughs. O God, your unfailing providence sustains the world we live in and the life we live. Watch over those both night and day who work while others sleep, and grant that we may never forget that our common life depends on each other's toil. Protect this body. Protect our mayor from the deception and slander of the enemy. Bless the city of New York with peace, safety, healing, and hope. Save our republic. Amen.
Thank you. I would now ask Councilmember Carmen De La Rosa to spread the invocation on the record.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Father Gowan Frederic DeLieu, Father Federico, as we lovingly call him, is a priest who serves at Holy Trinity and Episcopal Church in Inwood. He came to the city in September 2021 after serving 22 years in White Plains, New York. He has served in multilingual congregations in Korea, Chicago, and New York. Father Federico has written on the intersection of economics and church administration, taught literature and philosophy, and serves as the Dean of the Upper Manhattan Episcopal Clericus. He has served on the boards of national financial institutions, national reproductive right organizations like Planned Parenthood, and as a trustee in the Episcopal Diocese of New York, the Advisory Committee for the New York State Community Economic Agenda, and as a leader in all of Manhattan. As a Benedictine religious in the Order of the Ascension, he seeks to build collaborative communities that are reflective and engaged. Recently, a fire took the lives of 3 of our neighbors and left another 5 in critical condition, and dozens of others displaced overnight on Dyckman Street. The leadership of Father Federico and the clergy leaders of Holy Trinity quickly mobilized not only to collect donations, but to serve as a home base for our recovery efforts and a second home for those living a life of uncertainty in the face of this tragedy. Their generosity and dedication to helping our community has served as a humbling inspiration for those who desperately are in need of hope in a moment of darkness. Thank you, Majority Leader, and I would like to thank Father Dr. Federico Gawain Diliu for being here today, and I make a motion for unanimous consent to spread the invocation in full upon the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. We will now ask Councilmember Kevin Riley for the adoption of minutes.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I make a motion that the minutes of the stated meeting of April 30th, 2026 be adopted as printed.
Messages and papers from the mayor.
M63, City Debt and Reserves.
Received, ordered, printed, and filed.
Communication from city, county, and borough offices.
M64, Election of Carl Wilson, Council Member, 3rd District.
Received, ordered, printed, and filed.
M65, Discount Rate.
Finance.
Petitions and communications.
None.
Land use call-ups.
Ms. 66 through 68.
Thank you. I would now ask that the clerk take a roll call vote today on today's land use call-ups.
Aldebol.
I vote aye.
Ariola. We'll come back. Aviles. Banks.
Aye.
Brewer.
Yes.
Brooks Powers. Caban.
Aye.
De La Rosa. Dinowitz.
Aye.
Encarnacion.
Aye.
Epstein.
Yes.
Farias.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Felder. Councilmember Felder, land use call-ups, please. Thank you, Councilmember Felder. Feliz.
Aye.
Thank you. Gennaro. Gutierrez.
Aye.
Thank you. Hanif. Hankerson. Hanks.
Aye.
Hudson.
Aye.
Joseph. Krishnan.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Maloney.
Aye.
Marte.
Aye.
Mealy. Morano.
Aye.
Narcisse.
Aye.
Nurse.
I vote aye.
Osei.
Permission to vote on all items on today's agenda.
Permission granted.
I vote aye on all.
Thank you, Councilmember Osei. Palladino.
Aye.
Wrestler.
Aye.
Riley.
Aye.
Salam.
I vote aye.
Justin Sanchez.
Aye.
Parina Sanchez.
Aye.
Thank you. Santos Suosto.
Aye.
Thank you. Schulman.
Aye.
Stevens.
Permission to vote on all items on the agenda today?
Permission granted.
Aye on all.
Thomas Henry.
Aye.
Thank you. Ung.
Aye.
Vernikov. Williams.
I vote aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
One.
Aye.
Wang,
Aye.
Zhuang,
Aye.
Aviles.
Aye.
Thank you. Ariola.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Carr.
Aye.
Abreu.
Aye.
Speaker Menon.
Aye.
Today's land use call-ups are adopted by a vote of 46 in the affirmative and 0 in the negative. We will now have communication from Speaker Julie Menon.
Thank you. So first of all, today is a very exciting day because we get to welcome our amazing new colleague, Council Member Carl Wilson, to the chambers. I've had the honor and privilege of knowing you, Carl, for many years. And the work that you've done in your district is incredible, which is why your constituents elected you. I am so excited to have you in the chambers. I know you're going to hit the ground running on day one, and we're thrilled to officially welcome you today. So throughout the month of May, we are celebrating Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Haitian Heritage Month, yeah, okay. Jewish American Heritage Month, Lupus Awareness Month, and Maternal Mental Health Month. A lot going on in May. May 10th, of course, was also Mother's Day. For me, one of my favorite holidays. And so certainly for a woman majority council made up of so many mothers, this was a very great day. And I know this holiday is especially meaningful to each and every one of us. To the New Yorkers who are the heart and soul of our families and communities, wishing everyone a happy Mother's Day. May 19th is Malcolm X Day and would have been his 100th birthday. We continue to honor his legacy of Black empowerment and contributions to advancing civil rights and a fight for justice and equity. We also today honored, and we just want to make sure all the members know, we have brought proclamations back to the chambers. So if you want to do a proclamation, please work with our team so that we can make it happen. It's a really wonderful way that we can truly honor so many New Yorkers. And today we were honored to honor the late Sergeant Ollis, a proud New Yorker raised in Staten Island for his service to our country, and we presented a proclamation to his wonderful family. Robert and Linda Ollis, could you please stand up so we can... We truly honor the legacy of your son, Sergeant Ollis, who was tragically killed in Afghanistan while he was assisting a wounded fellow soldier. For his bravery, Sergeant Ollis was posthumously awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, the Purple Heart, and the Bronze Star Medal. He made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. We are eternally grateful for his courage and commitment as we head into Memorial Day. We really wanted to honor his life of service. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you to Minority Leader Carr. Finally, I want to shout out the students who are in our council chambers today. While working at the Wildlife Conservation Society, you are serving as such proud ambassadors of our STEM Career Ladders program, and we want to thank you so much for all you're doing to bridge environmental stewardship with civic impact. So thank you so much for being here. Now we're going to move on to our stated agenda. First, we'll vote on the following land use items. 9201 4th Avenue rezoning will facilitate the development of an 11-story mixed-use building with 96 residential units, 24 of which will be permanently affordable under MIH option number 1, as well as commercial space and 56 parking spaces in Councilmember Kayla Santosuoso's district. 46 Nelson Street rezoning will facilitate the development of a 7-story mixed-use building with 108 residential units, up to 27 of which will be permanently affordable under MIH option 1 or 3, as well as ground floor commercial space and 42 parking spaces in Councilmember Alexa Vilas' district. We will also today be voting on the mayor's appointment of Lisa Kersavage to the Landmarks Preservation Commission. Today, we will vote on the following pieces of legislation. Resolution 26, sponsored by Councilmember Alexa Vilas, would call on the New York City Department of Education to establish May annually as Labor History Month in New York City Public Schools. Thank you to Rie Ogaswasu and Nina Rosenberg. Introduction 13A, sponsored by Councilmember Sylvina Brooks Powers, would require the Department of Transportation to install illuminated solar panel traffic control devices at a minimum of 200 crosswalks by December 31st, 2031, with 40 installations required by December 31st, 2027. The bill would also require DOT to study the efficacy of the devices and the potential for further installations. Thank you to staff Sierra Townsend, Theodore Miller, Kevin Katowski, John Basile, and Audrey Sun. Introduction 741A, sponsored by Council members Linda Lee and Tiffany Caban, would require a task force to review and make recommendations to approve New York City's 988 mental health crisis system. The Department of Health and Mental Hygiene would also be required to report annually on 988 activity and conduct a citywide education campaign in multiple languages so that all New Yorkers know how to access help. Thank you to Sarah Sucher. Introduction 139-A, sponsored by Councilmember Tiffany Caban, would require the Department of Social Services to provide a confirmation notice electronically via Access HRA to applicants of public assistance regarding their benefits interview. Thank you to Amanita Kalawan. Finally, we will vote on a package of legislation in advance of the 2026 FIFA World Cup to ensure New Yorkers and small businesses are prepared to benefit from the meaningful opportunities provided by this global tournament. Resolution 428-A, sponsored by Councilmember Chanel Thomas Henry, would celebrate the arrival of the 2026 World Cup in the city of New York. Thank you to Regina Paul. Introduction 847-A, sponsored by Deputy Leader Sandra Ung, would require the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection to establish and implement an outreach and education program to create awareness around common scams targeting and impacting tourists. Educational materials would be required to be posted on the DCWP website in multiple languages and updated annually. Thank you to Sarah Swain and Natalie Meltzer. Introduction 822, sponsored by Council members Virginia Maloney and Chanel Thomas Henry, would temporarily co-name 2 thoroughfares in public spaces as Terry Henry Way in Manhattan and Pele Way in Queens during the 2026 World Cup. The street co-namings would be repealed on November 1st, 2026. Thank you to Chris Sartori, Patrick Mulvihill, and Michael Sherman. Introduction 849-A, sponsored by Deputy Speaker Dr. Natasha Williams, would require New York City Tourism and Conventions or an agency designated by the mayor to develop and implement a cultural passport program to promote tourism in at least 5 participating sites in each borough for a minimum of 1 year. Thank you to Leah Skripik, Alex Polinoff, William Hongash. Introduction 808-A, sponsored by Majority Leader Sean Abreu, would require New York City Tourism and Conventions or an agency designated by the mayor to develop and publish an events calendar and digital map of small businesses hosting World Cup events or offering World Cup promotions no later than 1 week before the start of the tournament. And Introduction 807-A, also sponsored by Majority Leader Abreu, would require the Mayor's Office of Citywide Event Coordination and Management and the Departments of Parks and Recreation to require that the organizer of any special event with a permit for 500 or more expected attendees on city-owned land during the 2026 World Cup ensure the provision of temporary public bathroom access for attendees. Thank you to Alex Polinoff and William Hongash. Thank you for your attention. I'm going to now turn it back over to our Majority Leader.
Thank you, Speaker Menon. We will now move into discussion of general orders, beginning with Councilmember Santos Suoso, followed by Maloney.
Thank you, Majority Leader, and I'm going to try to do this with a baby in my arms. I am very excited today that we will be voting on 9201 4th Avenue, which is personal to me because it is a rezoning application that takes place on my old block where I used to live and own a business. The current building was formerly an entirely commercial office building, which became vacant and blighted when COVID hit, and its vacancy has been a dead zone for the area, one felt by businesses and residents alike. The proposal in front of us will reinvigorate the block by allowing an 11-story mixed-use development delivering 96 new homes, including 24 permanently affordable units through the mandatory inclusionary housing program, and features majority 2 and 3 bedroom units designed for families. So at a time when Bay Ridge needs more housing that its residents can actually afford, this project meaningfully contributes to meeting that need. Importantly, the modification of this application is to map MIH option 1 only, which ensures deeper affordability. It will also feature an active ground floor commercial space, and while a grocery store was initially proposed for the space, in response to public concerns about traffic and oversaturation, the developer has assured me that he has reworked the proposal and now intends to fill the space with several small commercial retailers instead. So I'd like to thank the developer for listening meaningfully to public feedback on all aspects of this project and responding accordingly. While I'm proud to support this application today, it is critical that moving forward, we work in concert with the city to engage in a comprehensive community-led planning effort to ensure that new development is paired with proper infrastructure, smart design, and city investments to make development something that enhances the neighborhood while maintaining the small town feel that many of us cherish. Finally, developers eyeing the neighborhood should take note of the efforts made here, meaningful commitments to affordability, the construction of quality family-sized housing, building design that fits with the character of the neighborhood, and a real engagement with the public. The neighborhood deserves no less. Thank you, and I urge my colleagues to support this proposal.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Maloney, followed by Deputy Speaker Williams.
Thank you, Majority Leader Abreu. As chair of the Economic Development Committee, I've spent the past several months focused on how our city can maximize the benefits of the 2026 FIFA World Cup coming to New York City this summer. Today's legislative package is a meaningful part of that effort. Intro 0822 would temporarily co-name 2 thoroughfares adjacent to major World Cup Fan Fest locations. The first, Thierry Henry Way at Rockefeller Center in my district, and the second, Pele Way at Billie Jean King National Tennis Center in Queens in Chanel Thomas Henry's district. These fan festivals are where many New Yorkers are going to experience the Cup, supporting local businesses and participating in the energy for a once-in-a-generation event. So it's fitting that these spaces will bear the names of 2 figures whose legacy helped shape the global game. Thierry Henry is one of the game's most celebrated players and has a meaningful connection with our region. He played with the New York Red Bulls, where he helped grow the game in New York. And Pele is the most universally recognized figure in soccer. As New York prepares to welcome the world, these 2 co-namings say something about who we are, a city that honors greatness and embraces the world's most popular sport. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Speaker Williams, followed by Councilmember Caban.
Thank you. Today, the Council is passing a strong package of legislation connected to the 2026 World Cup and how New York City prepares to welcome one of the largest global events in the world. I want to acknowledge my colleagues who helped advance this package and the thoughtfulness behind the legislation that looks at tourism, cultural engagement, public amenities, and consumer protections together. I'm proud to see the passage of my bill, Intro 849, which establishes a cultural passport program designed to encourage residents and visitors alike to engage more intentionally with cultural destinations and institutions across all 5 boroughs. The World Cup will bring global attention and increase tourism to New York City, and this legislation is really about how we make sure that attention reaches communities throughout the city. Too often, visitors experience only a narrow portion of New York, despite the fact that every borough contains cultural institutions, historic sites, commercial corridors, and neighborhood spaces that reflect the depth and diversity of who we are. This program creates an opportunity for people to explore the broader cultural life of the city while also supporting the surrounding small businesses and local economies connected to those spaces. It encourages movement across the boroughs, engagement with communities, and longer-term visibility. I also want to acknowledge the Wildlife Conservation Society and the young people joining us today for Youth Advocacy Day. Institutions like yours help to create meaningful points of connection between people, culture, education, and public engagement. Lastly, I want to thank Speaker Menon, my colleagues, committee staff, and everyone involved in advancing today's legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Caban, followed by Brooks Powers.
Thank you. Today I have a piece of legislation that's being voted on, and it comes out of another related bill I passed last year, the Receipts Act. That law required DSS and HRA to provide a detailed confirmation notice or receipt when people apply or recertify benefits like cash assistance and SNAP, or when they submit documents in support of their application, because unfortunately the agency be losing stuff. And we want to make sure folks can get their much needed benefits quickly. When we were working on that bill, advocates and constituents kept asking if we could also do something about another part of the process, the eligibility interview. This has always been a confusing part of the process, and failure to complete that interview is by far the biggest reason applications for cash assistance are being rejected. So we worked with advocates again to make these changes. They're impactful. They're going to help millions of New Yorkers who rely on cash assistance and food stamps. It will require DSS to provide benefits interview confirmation notices. They'll have to provide those within 72 hours after conducting an eligibility or recertification interview for cash assistance or SNAP. And that notice will be provided in writing, and it applies to a range of assistance types, including emergency grants. And that notice will include a confirmation number for the interview, as well as details like the date, the type of benefit, and the applicant's number if it was a phone interview. I want to take a moment to thank Melissa Correa. She's my former Constituent Services Director. She's with the Mayor's Office now, for bringing to our attention this obstacle that our constituents are facing in accessing assistance. And thank you to my Ledge Director, Jonah Birch, for his work to bring this very important piece of legislation to the finish line. And I want to thank the committee staff for their work bringing this legislation to life. And I hope my colleagues are going to join me in voting for the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Brooks Powers.
Thank you. And today we are voting on Intro 13, legislation as sponsored to improve pedestrian and traffic safety through the installation of illuminated solar-powered traffic control devices at crosswalks across New York City. Every day, New Yorkers rely on our streets to get to work, school, transit, and local businesses safely. But too many intersections across our city remain dangerous due to poor visibility, speeding, and inadequate traffic controls. Communities across the 5 boroughs have repeatedly called for additional safety measures to prevent crashes and protect pedestrians. This legislation requires the Department of Transportation to install these safety devices at no fewer than 200 crosswalks citywide by 2031. While also studying their effectiveness and reporting annually on implementation progress. These types of improvements may seem small, but we know targeted infrastructure investments saves lives. As we continue working towards safer streets for all New Yorkers, we must remain committed to practical, data-driven solutions that improve visibility, calm traffic, and prevent avoidable tragedies. I want to thank Speaker Menon and all of my colleagues who supported this legislation. I respectfully ask my colleagues to vote aye on Intro 13. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Anyone else sign up for general orders that I may have missed? Councilmember Lee.
Sorry, thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Speaker, Majority Leader, and colleagues. Today it is an honor to pass Intro 741 along with my colleague Councilmember Caban, which will establish a task force to study and strengthen the current 988 mental health hotline system, while also improving public awareness of mental health resources and the services 988 provides. For far too long, 988 and other critical mental health resources have remained underutilized, sometimes because of stigma, and other times because these services are inaccessible or people simply do not know how to seek support. As the former chair of the Committee on Mental Health, Disabilities, and Addiction, I was proud to help create the Mental Health Roadmap, the Council's evolving plan to address decades of government neglect and the revolving door of hospitalizations, discharges, and arrests that have trapped some of our most vulnerable New Yorkers. This bill will recommend updates to counselor training to ensure culturally competent and trauma-informed responses, strengthen language access services, and develop strategies to address the underutilization of 988 among historically underserved communities. While there is still work to do, I am appreciative of the advocates as well as Speaker Menon and Chair Caban for their leadership on this important issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Seeing no one else signed up for general orders, report of special committees.
None.
Reports of standing committees.
Report of the Committee on Consumer and Worker Protection, Intro 847A, Tourist Education.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Economic Development, Intros 807A, 808A, and 849A, World Cup-related bills.
Amended and coupled.
Report of the Committee on General Welfare, Intro 139A, Confirmation Notices.
Amended and coupled.
Report of the Committee on Mental Health and Substance Use, Intro 741A, the New York City 988 System.
Amended and coupled.
Report of the Committee on Parks and Recreation, Intro 822, Naming of Thoroughfares and Public Places.
Coupled on general orders.
Report of the Committee on Rules, Privileges, Election Standards, and Ethics, M61 and Reso 472, approving the appointment of Lisa Krasavage, Landmarks Preservation Commission.
Coupled on general orders.
Preconsidered Resos 473 and 474, Council Committees.
Coupled.
Report of the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Intro 13A, Traffic Devices.
Amended and coupled on general orders.
On the general orders calendar, LU 52 and Reso 475 through LU 55 and Reso 478, various rezonings.
Coupled on general orders, I would now ask that the clerk take a roll call vote on all of the items coupled on today's general orders calendar.
Aldebol.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I would like to congratulate Councilmember Aviles on her work championing Reso 26, which calls upon New York City Department of Education to establish May annually as Labor History Month. I've been involved with organized labor for decades, and I've seen time and again how labor movements powered by the collective will of workers can challenge systems of oppression and improve lives. When workers are being exploited, abused, and taken for granted, it is organized labor that is most successful in securing those protections that are often taken for granted. The struggles and collective actions of workers built the middle class, and it is vital to understand the value of collective bargaining. However, despite the many workplace protections that have been secured, there is a significant gap in knowledge about labor, especially among our younger generations. It's important to also understand that attack on unions and the erosion of labor rights correlates with the widening income inequality.
This is you're discussing a resolution. We're at the general orders calendar.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My apologies for that.
I vote aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ariola.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Aviles.
Aye.
Banks.
Aye.
Brewer.
I vote aye. I want to say particular congratulations to Lisa Krasavage. I hope she pays attention to West Park Presbyterian Church and landmarks it. And then on the economic development, I'm voting yes, but we could write a letter to the agencies about the bathrooms and the maps and so on. I don't know if we actually need to pass a bill. I know we are, but I'm just saying, seems to me that letters would suffice. Thank you.
Brooks Powers.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
First, I vote aye, but I'd like to request unanimous consent to vote on all items on the land use call-ups.
Any objections? You may vote.
I vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Caban.
I vote aye.
De La Rosa.
Aye.
Dinowitz.
Aye.
Encarnacion.
I vote aye.
Epstein.
Yes.
Farias.
I vote aye on all.
Thank you. Felder.
Aye.
Feliz.
Aye.
Thank you. Gennaro.
I vote aye, and I request unanimous consent to vote on land use call-ups.
Any objections? Seeing no objections, you may vote.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Gutierrez.
Vote aye.
Thank you. Hanif.
Aye.
Hankerson.
Aye.
Hanks.
I vote aye.
Hudson.
Aye.
Joseph. Krishnan.
Aye.
Lee.
I vote aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Maloney.
Aye.
Marte.
Aye.
Mealy. Morano.
Aye on all. Welcome aboard, Councilmember Wilson.
Narcisse.
I vote aye.
Nurse.
I vote aye.
Thank you. Palladino. Rustler.
Aye, and congratulations, Councilmember Wilson.
Riley.
Aye.
Salam.
I vote aye.
Justin Sanchez.
I vote aye, and congratulations to the 5th Infinity Stone, Carl Wilson.
Parina Sanchez.
Aye.
Santos Suoso.
Aye.
Thank you. Schulman.
Aye, and I want to welcome my colleague Carl Wilson to the body. Thank you.
Thomas Henry.
Aye.
Thank you. Ung.
Aye.
Vernikov. Williams.
I vote aye.
Wilson.
It's great to be here, and I vote aye.
One.
Aye.
Wong.
Aye on all.
Zhuang.
I also want to shout out to my high school intern, Victoria, to follow me for today, and also a lot of youth come from Wildlife Conservation Society, some from my district. Welcome to City Council.
Thank you. One moment. Carr.
Permission to briefly explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I just want to say congratulations to all the colleagues who are passing legislation today. Truly great achievements, and it's a rare eye on all day from our colleagues here in the Republican delegation. Always happy to surprise every now and then. And unfortunately, not as interesting a day for our debate team students watching up in the gallery. But I want to say briefly just congratulations to our newest member, Councilmember Carl Wilson, for joining us today on his victory earlier this month. I look forward to working with him in the days and weeks and years ahead. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Aye on all.
Palladino.
Aye on all.
Thank you. Abreu.
Aye.
Speaker Menon.
Aye on all. Congratulations to all the colleagues who are passing legislation today.
All items on today's general order calendar are adopted by a vote of 48 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions. And the revised land use call-ups vote is 48 in the affirmative and 0 in the negative. Introduction and reading of bills.
All bills have been referred to committee as indicated on today's agenda.
Thank you. We will now move into discussion of resolutions. Councilmember Aldebal, would you like to speak on the resolutions?
You know, I'm so excited about this resolution that I jumped ahead. I apologize.
No, you're good.
Majority Leader. This is very exciting, and it's been a long time coming. But I just want to say that, I want to thank again Councilmember Aviles for her work on this important resolution. young people in New York City will have the opportunity to learn about labor history and be empowered by the lessons of collective activism that secured our hard-won rights and protections. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Councilmember Aldabal. Councilmember Aviles.
For the record, I am absolutely loving Chair Aldabal's excitement about this resolution. It was worth hearing it twice, for sure. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Chair Aldabal. Thank you to my colleagues. Definitely proud to be voting on this resolution 26 today. As you've heard, the resolution calls on the New York City Department of Education to establish May as Labor History Month in New York City public schools. We all know that New York City is the wealthiest city in the country, but New York is also a working class city where workers from all backgrounds have done the work that produces that wealth. Working class New Yorkers have often suffered greatly on the job, but they also have come together through labor movements to fight for justice, from dock workers transforming their dangerous and low-paid industry to garment workers fighting for workplace dignity, to food delivery workers organizing for dignified and decent pay. This is a proud history, and yet the story of organized working class power is rarely mentioned in our history books, and hopefully today that changes. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Epstein.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I want to also thank Councilmember Aviles for May's trying to make sure that we understand our history and our labor history. It's really important for our young people to understand that. Two, I have a bill that we are introducing about reducing single-use plasticware throughout New York City. I think we've seen so much disposable things that are non-compostable. We look forward to that bill moving forward.
Councilmember, is this regarding your bill? Or
No.
Is on resolutions?
Yeah, resolutions.
My
and
apologies for
introductions.
interrupting you. Keep going.
No worry, we're good.
I don't talk to anybody.
I want to just a new.
Sorry, we're not voting on that right now.
No, we're not.
So then it has to be in general discussion. All right. Seeing no one else signed up for resolutions, we will now have a voice vote on today's resolutions. If you wish to vote against or abstain from either of today's resolutions, please notify the Legislative Documents Unit by email or by approaching the dais. I'll now read today's resolution into the record. Resolution 26 calls on the New York City Department of Education to establish May annually as Labor History Month in New York City public schools. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Resolution 428A celebrates the arrival of the 2026 World Cup in the city of New York. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. We will now move into general discussion, beginning with Councilmember Wilson.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you so much for such a warm welcome back to the council. Over the past decade, I've gotten to call two places home. One of those is here in the City Council, where I worked in the offices of former Council Speaker Corey Johnson and Councilmember Eric Botcher, two deeply impactful leaders in my life. I hope very much to build on the great work they did here, of which I was proud to play a part. Through that time in Corey and Eric's offices, I've been lucky enough to get to know many of you and the staff that keeps this place humming, and I can't wait to cultivate those relationships further as we strive for a city that works for everyone. My other home has been, of course, Council District 3, and representing it here is an honor of my life. I don't think there's a more iconic place to represent. From the neon-soaked Hell's Kitchen to the West Village with its bohemian and radical history, to Chelsea with its bright, colorful farmers markets and dusky, whiskey-stained carpets of its historic hotel, to Hudson Square with one foot in the city's storied history and another gesturing towards its sleek, modern future. In this chamber, I represent Stonewall, the cradle of the modern-day LGBTQ rights movement, the Whitney, which houses works by Hopper, Johns, Warhol, and O'Keeffe, Studio 54, where if you listen closely, you can still hear echoes of Liza's laughter coming from the ladies' room, and Film Forum, where you can take in a Hitchcock while crunching the best theater popcorn. As I step into this new and exciting role, I'm acutely aware of the major challenges ahead. New York City is in desperate need of more affordable housing. We need more investments in our parks, schools, public transit, and community spaces. We must protect our LGBTQIA+ community and immigrant neighbors from threats from Washington. I'm so grateful for the trust that's been placed in me and for the team I now have behind me to help put these ideas into motion. And I'm so grateful to join you as a colleague. Thank you all very much.
Congratulations, Councilmember. Councilmember Hanif, followed by Lee.
Thank you, Majority Leader. In celebration of Older Americans Month, I am proud to introduce legislation to improve the lives of older and disabled New Yorkers across our city. Older adults are the backbone of our communities, and we have a responsibility to ensure New York City works for them as they age. That's why I'm introducing legislation to help ensure seniors and people with disabilities living in apartment buildings have important safety devices in their homes, while also helping property owners cover the cost of these upgrades through a tax break. I'm also introducing a resolution calling on the New York State to allow local governments to cap rent for SCREE and DREE enrollees at 1/3 of household income. As housing costs continue to rise, we must strengthen protections that allow older New Yorkers to age in place with dignity and stability. We must celebrate older New Yorkers not just with words, but with policies that protect their dignity, safety, and right to remain in the communities they help build. Thank you.
Councilmember Lee, followed by Alderbal.
Good afternoon, Chair, Majority Leader, and colleagues. Today I'm honored to introduce Resolution 464, recognizing an issue highlighted by Beatrice Kim, a high school junior who's here with us today, and her mother, Clara, whose advocacy and contact with my office led to the creation of this legislation to support maternal mental health. Postpartum psychosis is a rare but severe psychiatric emergency that typically emerges within 2 weeks after childbirth and can cause delusions, paranoia, and rapid changes in mood and behavior. Each year, approximately 4,000 women in the United States experience postpartum psychosis. Studies show that when left untreated, the condition can increase the risk of maternal suicide and infanticide to as high as 5%. This underscores the devastating consequences of untreated maternal psychiatric illness. Currently, our state has no laws that explicitly recognize postpartum mental illness as a mitigating factor during sentencing or as grounds for post-sentencing review. As a result, mothers experiencing severe postpartum crises are often treated under the same legal framework as defendants without these conditions, without meaningful consideration of their acute mental health circumstances. This resolution calls on the state to pass legislation recognizing postpartum mental illness as a factor in criminal sentencing. As our city continues to expand access to mental health care, we must do everything in our power to ensure that those suffering are met with support and a pathway toward rehabilitation. I hope you will join me in supporting this important effort, and I just want to recognize Beatrice Kim, who's with us today. If you could stand up, and thank you so much for your advocacy in this, and then of course Clara, her mother here.
Councilmember Alderbal, followed by Zhuang.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I am proud to introduce Resolution 458, calling on New York State Legislature to pass and the Governor to sign S6487C A7033D to empower the New York State Council on the Arts to designate Little Yemen as a cultural district. The area known as Little Yemen represents the vibrant and growing Yemeni community and business district situated in the East Bronx neighborhoods of Morris Park and Van Nest in Council District 13. I am proud to represent this community and bring Resolution 458 to the floor today in support of the legislation introduced by Assemblymember John Zaccaro and Senator Natalia Fernandez. Little Yemen reflects the Yemeni community's heritage and traditions and is filled with Yemeni-owned businesses, restaurants, food stores, clothing shops, as well as mosques and cultural centers that promote community activity. Designating Little Yemen as a cultural district would recognize the community's unique cultural identity, foster pride in its contribution amongst its residents, and honor the diversity it brings to the Bronx and to New York City as a whole. An official cultural district would also promote tourism and business development, which would have a positive effect on the local economy in Little Yemen, District 13, and the East Bronx generally. It will also help preserve its distinctive character and cultural traditions, which might otherwise be lost to gentrification and urban development. I encourage my New York City Council colleagues and all New Yorkers to come visit Little Yemen. Come share a delicious meal of traditional Yemeni stew, grab a cup of special Yemeni coffee, get a taste of unique Yemeni honey, or go see a performance at the Bronx Muslim Center. Whatever you do in Little Yemen, you will see firsthand how special the neighborhood is and understand why it deserves recognition. As I officially introduce my first resolution, I am grateful to the New York City Council staff and my colleagues for their support and look forward to moving this resolution towards adoption.
Councilmember Zhuang, followed by Morano.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today, I'm proud to join several of my colleagues, Councilmember Stevens, Councilmember Encarnacion, and Senator Swasso in introducing Intro 910 to protect our small business owners. If we do nothing on July 1st, many will be hit with fine for not replacing expensive security gates with 70% transparent gates, which can cost more than $10,000. If we pass this bill, we can repeal this requirement, which passed in 17 years ago. Business only need to use specific type of gate when they change the new one. With the tariff and the cost of living increase, it's very hard for small business to survive in current economics. Lots of small businesses' revenue decreased 40%. ICE is running around in our immigrant neighborhoods. People are afraid to come out to shop. Some immigrant business cannot survive and have been closed in my neighborhood. As an immigrant and a daughter of a small business owner, I cannot place we cannot place impossible financial mandate on hardworking small business owners without giving them time, support, and resources. We must protect them and repeal Local Law 75. I'm also introduced a pair of resolution designed to improve our state's DRE and share program with RESO 470 and RESO 471. 470, parents, guardian, and other relative of people with disability could be able to qualify for DRE, even they are not the disabled person, not the head of the household. With RESO 471, income verification for SHRE could lift the state instead of local.
Councilman, please wrap up.
Instead of local government, please support. Thank you.
Councilmember Morano. I don't know why I said it like that. Councilmember Morano, followed by Santos also.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today, I'm proud to introduce a resolution urging the state legislature to pass the Toll Payer Advocacy and Relief Act, sponsored in Albany by Senator Andrew Lanza and Assemblyman Mike Riley, both of whom represent my district in Staten Island. This is one of those issues that really does cut across party lines, ideology, and geography, because almost everybody knows someone who's been hit with outrageous toll violations, excessive fees, or a bureaucratic nightmare involving E-ZPass. People don't object to paying tolls they actually owe. What frustrates them is a system that too often feels confusing, punitive, and impossible to navigate or figure out. Someone misses a notice, a bill goes to the wrong address, there's a transponder issue, and suddenly a working person is staring at hundreds or even thousands of dollars in penalties. That's crazy. At a certain point, it stops being about collecting tolls and starts feeling like a shakedown. And this issue especially affects outer borough residents, commuters, working people, small business owners, and families who rely on their cars every single day. On Staten Island, where crossing a bridge is just part of daily life, people feel this constantly. This legislation is about fairness, transparency, accountability, and restoring some common sense to the process. Government should collect tolls, not ruin people's lives over paperwork, glitches, or delayed notices, and I'm hoping a lot of you will sign on to it. On a personal note, today also marks 1 year since I was sworn into the City Council. In some ways, it feels like I started last week, thank you. In other ways, it feels like I've been here since the invention of the Metro card. But it's been really an honor serving with all of you and serving the people of Staten Island, especially the Staten Island delegation and the Republican Conference. And I have to give a special shout out to my colleague, Minority Leader Carr, who's been an incredible mentor and friend, And I hate to ruin her reputation with some of our colleagues, but to Speaker Menon, who's been an incredible mentor and recognizes that just because my constituents elected
Please
a
wrap up.
Republican doesn't mean they deserve to be treated any less. So thank you, Speaker. And lastly, I'll send my best wishes
Councilmember,
to
your
former
time is
Mayor
up.
Giuliani
Time is up, Councilmember.
and his recovery.
Time is up.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ressler, followed by Santos Suoso.
I think we cut Councilmember Morano off just in time. But congrats on a year. It's been a pleasure serving with you. I just wanted to celebrate not one, but two amazing schools from District 33 that are here with us today. IS 318 is known across the state for having the best chess program in the state. They also have an amazing debate team, and thanks to our minority leader, David Carr, that debate team is with us today. And so I really want to thank them for being here. IS 318 is one of the largest middle schools in Brooklyn, almost 1,000 kids. It's an amazing school that serves families across Williamsburg and Greenpoint. And we're also joined by Packer and their AT government class, which I recently joined for a conversation. The kids are brilliant. I'm a Packer alum, but I really want to thank Becca Zimmerman, who does an amazing job leading that AT government class and serving the kids at Packer. Thank you both for being here. We really appreciate it.
Councilmember Santos Suoso, followed by Hankerson.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today, I introduce my bill requiring the Department of Health to establish and utilize digital verification of food protection certificates, legislation that comes out of my former life as a bar and restaurant owner. So I want my colleagues to play a game with me. Imagine you're walking into 250 Broadway and realize that you forgot your council ID. And imagine further that even though the building staff knows who you are and you're a duly elected council member, and though your name and photo is up on the council website, no one will let you in the building because you didn't have your physical card on you. Sounds absurd. This is an actual issue that restaurant managers and chefs deal with during health inspections. Per existing law, restaurants must have at least one food protection certified employee on premises at all times. But currently, certified employees can only prove their certification status by showing their physical card during an inspection. So if the day of the inspection comes and you left your card at home, tough luck. Department of Health treats it as if there was no certified employee on site. That's 10 points against a restaurant during the inspection when anything more than 13 points constitutes a B grade or lower, and it's also at least a $400 fine. And again, this is the case even though the certified employee is present and making sure food is prepared and handled safely for the public. So my bill's simple. The DOH already has the names of the certified workers. They also have devices like iPads with them during inspections. During the inspection, they should be required to check that the digital database before they issue violations for missing certificates. Let's keep inspectors focused on the safety issues that matter rather than bureaucratic trivia, and restaurant employees can focus on food safety, not on which pocket they left their card in. So thank you all, and I look forward to passing this common sense legislation soon. Thank you.
Councilmember Hankerson, followed by Shulman.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Illegal dumping is a quality of life issue across New York City. Construction debris left near homes, parks, green spaces, neighborhood corridors, waterways, and beaches creates eyesores and brings down the value of the surrounding area and harms the environment. Construction waste should not leave a job site without a clear plan for where it will go and who will handle it. Before a permit is granted, contractors should be able to show that debris will be taken to an appropriate disposal location by a licensed or properly authorized hauler, disposer, or disposal company. When disposal records are not required, contractors can cut corners, use unauthorized or unreliable disposers, avoid proper disposal costs, and leave communities to deal with the mess. A permit should not be approved on trust alone, especially when construction debris can end up on or in communities. This legislation requires applicants for certain DOB permits to submit a construction waste disposal plan before the permit is granted. It also requires proof that the waste was taken to a lawful disposal site before the permit can be closed. That proof may include receipts, transfer station records, disposal facility records, hauling records, or other documents showing where the material went and who handled it. Requiring disposal planning before permit approval and verification before permit closeout will help prevent illegal dumping, protect public spaces, and hold contractors accountable. For these reasons, I urge my colleagues to support this legislation. I also want to say congratulations to Carl. Welcome to the other side.
Councilmember Shulman, followed by Narcisse.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today I am introducing Resolution 467, calling on New York State to authorize New York City to establish a camera enforcement program for violations of the Don't Block the Box law. I'm proud to have Councilmember Ressler as a co-prime sponsor. New Yorkers know how frustrating and dangerous blocked intersections can be. When drivers enter intersections they cannot clear, it creates gridlock that slows buses, delays emergency vehicles, blocks crosswalks, and puts pedestrians and bicyclists at risk. Although blocking the box is already illegal under state law, enforcement can be difficult in practice. These violations often happen quickly and repeatedly, especially at heavily congested intersections. We have already seen how automated enforcement programs can successfully change driver behavior and improve street safety. Speed cameras, red light cameras, and bus lane cameras have all helped reduce dangerous driving and keep New Yorkers moving safely and efficiently. A Don't Block the Box camera enforcement program would build on that success by improving compliance, reducing congestion, and making our streets safer for everyone, whether they're walking, biking, taking transit, or driving. This is a smart, common-sense approach to improving traffic flow and protecting public safety in New York City, and I want to thank my Chief of Staff, Jonathan Boucher, who came up with this suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. If everybody online can just mute themselves, that would be greatly appreciated. Councilmember Narcisse, followed by Juan.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about something that's very important. Before I do, I'm going to say you're all invited. It's going to be at Brooklyn Children's Museum, 145 Brooklyn Avenue. Madam Speaker, it's extended to you. Haiti. What we talk about Haiti, I know some folks don't want to talk. They kind of like want to forget that history. But history reminds us who we are, what we have done. Haiti, my birthplace, was the first Black republic in the world. And its revolution inspired freedom, movements across the globe. That legacy deserved to be honored and celebrated. I am inviting all my colleagues who have some little time to come and enjoy and understand the food, the culture, the music. We're going to be there. We're not going to get discouraged despite everything that's going on, because Haiti put its mark on the globe with everyone against slavery. How many folks in that time when we were traveling from Africa to different parts to be landed in that little Caribbean and said enough is enough, and we had to fight to get out of it, and so is the rest of the world. Inviting everyone across the globe to say, if you want to be free, come to that little island and celebrate your freedom. So today, I'm inviting you, keep on celebrating, keep on rising. We're going to rise the flag because I'm not going to get enough of it because I'm from there and I know my history. So for all of you, let's celebrate together. So I want to say thank you to all the young people that came here. That's mean the future is brighter and better. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilmember Juan, followed by Brewer.
Thank you, Majority Leader. In celebration of Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, today I'm introducing Resolution 469, which will declare June 12th as Philippine Independence Day in New York City, joining the New York State Assembly and formally recognizing this community's history and contributions in New York City. I'm honored to introduce this resolution today ahead of the 36th Annual New York City Philippine Independence Day Parade, which will be held on June 7th this year. Over 128 years ago, General Emilio Aguinaldo declared Philippine independence for more than 300 years of colonial rule. The Filipino-American community is the second largest in the United States, with 3.9 million people residing throughout our country. Nearly 94,000 Filipino New Yorkers live in our city, with over half living in Queens. I'm honored to represent Woodside, the home to Little Manila, where beautiful Filipino culture is prominent and has become the home of many Filipino immigrants and people living in the diaspora. So thank you to my colleagues, Councilmember Osei, Ang, and Farias for co-priming this resolution. I hope you all will join me by signing on. Thank you.
Councilmember Brewer, followed by Kawang.
Just for the record, I was around when the MetroCard started, just for the record. And Second, I was at Studio 54 with Cher and Jack Nicholson. Just want to be.
Oh my God.
I am here supporting Intro 894, which would allow restaurants to install high-quality winter vestibules, enclosing their licensed sidewalk cafe areas. Many of the restaurants have asked for this. These restaurants already pay the city for a year-round permit, and yet increasingly frigid and wet weather this past winter prevented their practical use. There are businesses and community members who are unclear on what is allowed and prohibited, so this legislation would add clear guidance. I want to thank Sarah Swain and also from my office, Schuler Puder, for this legislation. I also want to invite people today here in the chamber between 4:30 and 5:15, we will have Teens Take the City. It's a program that I have sponsored for years. It is in its 20th year. I know the speaker is also sponsoring it this year. And this YMCA program talks about civic engagement. Young people sit in our seats, and they talk about proposed policies that they worked on all year. I want to thank the services here from all of the staff and Speaker Menon for hosting this program. Like I said, I was at Studio 54. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Nurse, followed by Caban, then Brooks Powers.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Today I'm reintroducing my bill, the Community Opportunity to Purchase Act. The amended bill I am introducing today is stronger and more targeted than the one we passed in December with 31 votes. We've cut down the maximum timeline, increased the level of distress for determining COPA eligibility, and carved out some buildings with expiring affordability. These changes reflect your feedback and many meetings with the administration and coalition partners. Thank you to Speaker Menon for the opportunity to bring this to the council again. I just want to lift up a few buildings that exemplify why COPA is needed. 331 East 14th Street in Councilmember Epstein's district, a 20-unit building with 358 B&C violations, was owned by a notorious slumlord until it was sold to a private equity firm. It continues to rack up violations. 2076 Creston Avenue in Councilmember Pidina Sanchez's district, a 41-unit building that accrued over 2,000 violations across many bad landlords. And 63 Tiffany Place in Councilmember Hanif's district, whose expiring tax credits put the building's affordability housing at risk of being lost forever. These are just some examples of buildings whose affordability could be preserved by COPA. There are many more which suffer through never-ending cycles of eviction, flipping, and gentrification. I just want to thank the 22 co-prime sponsors who are backing this. I'm looking forward to partnering with all of you to get this across the finish line, and I encourage and ask for your support. Thank you. Thank you, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Caban, followed by Brooks Powers.
Thank you. I just want to, they'll also stand 10 toes down with COPA. So for too long, profit-seeking corporations have been speculatively buying up buildings in our communities with the goal of flipping them and displacing primarily Black and brown New Yorkers from their homes. And this cycle of displacement has forced too many families to leave their homes and has prevented people from maintaining stability in their homes. And COPA is going to give community-based organizations the opportunity to turn multifamily buildings into permanently affordable, community-controlled homes. And so I am grateful for Councilmember Nurse's leadership on this, and I feel confident that we can once again pass COPA, this time without the obstacle of a veto, and encourage my colleagues to support it as well. Thank you.
Councilmember Brooks Powers, followed by Epstein.
I'm going to try standing up like everyone else today. So today I'm proud to introduce Intro 895 to ensure that New York City students and families have clear, accessible information about their rights when it comes to transferring schools. Far too often, families are navigating high-stakes educational decisions without knowing the protections they are entitled to under the law. In some cases, students, particularly students with disabilities, and those in temporary housing are pressured out of schools without understanding their rights or the proper process that must be followed. This bill would require the Department of Education to maintain a centralized, multilingual resource explaining students' substantive and procedural transfer rights, protections against coercion and retaliation, and how families can seek support or file complaints when necessary. It would also connect families with legal and community-based resources so they are not navigating these situations alone. Every child deserves stability, dignity, and a fair opportunity to succeed in school regardless of their background or circumstance. I am also proud to introduce 2 resolutions focused on fairness and equal access within our justice and democratic systems. The first, Resolution 459, 9 calls on the state legislature to pass legislation ensuring that eligible incarcerated individuals are able to meaningfully exercise their right to vote. In New York City, the overwhelming majority of individuals in our local jails are awaiting trial and legally retain the right to vote, yet far too many face barriers that effectively disenfranchise them. The second, Resolution 460, calls on the state legislature to advance a constitutional amendment that would allow New York to increase the number of Supreme Court justices based on caseload need rather than outdated population formulas. Our courts are overwhelmed, particularly here in New York City, and delays in the justice system undermine public confidence and deny timely access to justice. I encourage my colleagues to support this legislation. Thank you.
Councilmember Epstein, followed by Gennaro.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I'll try to do it better this time. It takes time to learn this stuff. I'm stuck in Albany head. So I'm introducing a bill around reducing single waste use in government facilities. About 20,000 tons of plastic foodware are discarded in New York City every year. This really impacts our landfill system, and hopefully we can get it past us to eliminate that. I want to also rise up. I know the Speaker and the Majority Leader have introduced 2 bills around surveillance and dynamic pricing. Excited to see that Times article today, and I look forward to having an expedited hearing. We're seeing these problems across the country. We know the Attorney General is focusing on it. And it's critical that we get in front of these issues before it hurts the affordability crisis we have in New York. I want to thank Councilmember Nurse for her leadership in reintroducing COPA. It's a really critical bill. I thank you for flagging a building in my district that, we've seen this problem, whether it's still people like Stephen Croman who engaged in harassment and discrimination and tried to evict people just because they were undocumented. COPA can go a long way to do that. May is Lower East Side History Month. We have a lot of events this weekend, Lower East Side History Month, and we'd love to have you join us. So also we have our AAPI celebration next week. It's AAPI History Month next week, the 21st. The Speaker is co-sponsoring the event on Thursday, the 21st at Civic Hall. It's a great facility that you all, or our body, voted on to allow that to exist. And finally, I want to welcome Carl to be my neighbor to the west of me, and I look forward to our collaboration and working together.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Gennaro.
Thank you. I just wanted to at first mention to Gail that when I started city service, a token was 75 cents.
Me too.
So, a token, an actual token.
Please keep it down the chamber. Let the councilmember finish.
I want to bring a bill to the attention of the members. It's one that I'm introing, Intro 870. It has to do with the replacement of lead water service lines. We're under a federal regulation to do this. We took a whack at this last session. It didn't go all that well. Of course, the issue is who's going to pay for all this? Billions and millions of dollars to replace lead service lines. It pertains to cities that, when they do a survey of properties and they test the water, and we came in under the benchmark, so we have to do this. The federal government paid for the entire city of Newark to have this done. There is going to be no federal money forthcoming for us to do this. Other pots of money that might be available would be like the Environmental Bond Act. We can't count on Albany giving us anything out of that. They never give us anything out of the Bond Act. So this is going to be a complicated bill. I'm not sure if I were you, I would rush to jump on this bill. This is going to be, you're going to get a lot of calls from both sides, people who want the city to pay and the city that wants like private property owners to say, which has its own problems because there's legal problems with the city paying for infrastructure in private buildings. So this is going to be a very complicated enterprise, and so I would just tell you that it's on the docket. We're going to, make another go at it, and we'll be successful this time. But it's not going to be easy. That's Intro 870. Thank you very much.
I'll now call on Speaker Julie Menin to close today's stated meeting.
Thank you. The stated meeting of May 14th, 2026 is hereby adjourned.